This is part 2 of my quick story time, and please listen because I need advice. Like I said, I go over to my white boyfriend's house for the first time, and the first thing I see is a Confederate flag. Don't know why I was surprised. Now that I think of it, I should have expected that. Then his mother approaches me with scissors, cuts off a piece of my hair, then she pulls away and says, jokingly, "It's like we have an intruder." Once I started looking around even more, I started noticing some things these white folks had, and I quote, Negro collectibles. Let me tell y'all about this shit. Y'all see this? Yep, that's Negro collectibles. Here's another one. Basically, they collect racist items. I know about those collectibles. My mom always told me, watch out for the people that own that shit. I was in the sunken place. Those are them serial killer white people. Obviously, her cutting off my hair and seeing those collectibles set off my fight or flight. Guess which one I chose? Not flight. I snatched the scissors out of her hands. I'm aiming it at the racists, telling them to stay back. So she calls out for her husband, and he brings a rifle. Part 3 of my quick story time, and please listen all the way through because I need advice. So I'm at my boyfriend's house. His mom cuts off a piece of my hair, and I look around the house and I'm seeing Confederate flag mat, racist collectible items. Well, after she cuts off a piece of my hair, I was ready to fight. I grabbed the scissors out of her hands and aimed it at her and my boyfriend. I told him that they could both get it. And she tries to hit me with the, "I know you're not threatening me in my own home." B, I was threatened as soon as I walked into your home. Who approaches a black person with scissors and you literally collect racist items and have a Confederate flag? Bring your grandma up here. I'ma threaten her too. She calls out for her husband and he brings out a rifle. So I try to make a run for it to my car. Well, she throws the pieces of my hair that she cut off at me and says, "And you can take your naps with you." I'm not even hearing her. I get into my car and put the keys in, child. This crazy old white lady grabs the rifle from her husband and starts banging my car with it. That bitch thought I was playing with her. I wasn't. I ran her ass over twice. Forwards and backwards. I was not playing with that crooked tooth bitch. Ladies, this is why you should always be cautious while driving alone at nighttime. If you ever find yourself in a situation where a car is following you or making every single turn that you make, do not, and I repeat, do not drive home. And this is why. So I started talking to this one guy through this online dating app. Yes, I know the dangers, baby. I was desperate. I was taking my chances regardless. I decided to go on a date, and that would be the first time that I would ever see him in person. Never FaceTime before this, and he looked exactly how he did in his pictures. The way I was ready to with his fine self. Point is, he looked scrumptious. Scrumptious. Anyways, y'all get it. Y'all get the point. Well, I was already at the restaurant we were supposed to meet up at, and I was waiting for him. We had a really good time, but it was time for me to go to bed because I was getting tired. Mind you, I didn't see his car when he pulled up. He just walked in. But anyways, I start to drive home. Well, 15 minutes into the drive, I kind of noticed that there's a car behind me that has taken every single turn that I have taken since I left the restaurant. So I start taking random turns to see if the car would still follow me, and it did. Well, eventually, I stopped to park in a random driveway. At first, that same car passes by me, but then it turns right back around and parks behind my car. Part 2 of why ladies should always be cautious while driving alone at nighttime. And if a random car starts following you, to never drive home. So like I said, I noticed this random car following me, so I didn't drive home. I parked into some random driveway, and the same car that was following me drove right past me. I waited a little bit to see if I was in the clear, and I see that same car driving right back towards my direction. That's when I duck. I basically try to make it seem like I went inside, even though it's not really my house. Well, he ends up parking right behind my car, and he gets out of his car. At this point, I was terrified, but at least I was in my car so I could run him over if need be. And thankfully, I have tinted windows, so when he walked past my car, he didn't see me because I was ducking. I didn't really get to see his face or what he was wearing. He basically looked like a black figure. Like I said, it was really dark outside. Whoever's house that was didn't keep their front porch lights on. Thankfully. Then maybe he would have seen me. Well, he gets to the front porch. That's when I immediately get up, turn my car back on, and drive home. Well, the next morning, I was woken up by someone ringing my doorbell. Look outside and I see the same car from last night parked in my driveway. Part 3 of why ladies should always be cautious while driving alone at nighttime. Like I said, I was able to get away from whoever was following my car last night. Well, the next morning, someone was ringing my doorbell, so I woke up. I look outside my window because my bedroom window is right at the front of my house. I see the same car that was following me last night parked in my driveway. I didn't know what to do at this point, but I thought that I should at least try to see what he looks like. So I go to my door and I look through that little peephole. When I say I almost passed away, it is not an exaggeration. It was my date from last night. I swing open my door and I'm like, motherfucker, how did you find me? I didn't give you my address. I straight up confront him. I'm not playing around. I said, were you following me last night? He goes, oh, I just forgot to get your number. At the moment, I was thinking he could be telling the truth because we did only talk through that online dating app. We never exchanged numbers. So I went ahead and gave him my number and didn't think much of it. That was a big mistake. The next day, I woke up to 200 missed calls and 50 texts from him. For part 4. Part 4 of why ladies should be cautious while driving home alone at nighttime. So my date shows up to my house, aka the dude that was following me last night. and says that he was following me because he never got to get my number. Low-key believed him because we never did exchange numbers. I kinda thought it was a little cute. He would follow me just to get my number. At the time, I wasn't really thinking that he could have just like texted me on the dating app for my number. But yeah, I should have never gave him my number. Because when I woke up the next day, I had 200 missed calls and 50 texts from him. So I start reading the texts, and it was not an emergency. It was actually a nightmare. Text read something along the lines of, text me back right now, where the hell are you? I need you. Call me back or I swear to God. Well, I didn't even bother replying. But as the day went on, he kept texting me and he kept calling me. The texts turned into threats. I was thinking about just blocking him. Then I remembered since he followed me and I drove home, he knew my address. Part 5 of why ladies should always be cautious while driving alone at night. Like I said, I gave my date my phone number. Then the next morning, I woke up to a bunch of spam texts and calls from him. Basically just saying things like, call me back right now, I need you, text me back. And then his text started getting worse. They started saying things like, if you don't text me back, I'm gonna kill you. I was thinking about blocking him, but I didn't want to make him mad because he knew where I lived. I show his messages and all his calls to my girlfriend. They just tell me to go to the police. One of my really good friends came over and took me to the police station because she didn't want me leaving my house by myself. Well, when we got there, they told us that they couldn't even do anything because he hadn't committed a crime yet. That the threats that he sent me just weren't enough to make a case. Well, I did end up blocking him. I blocked his number and I blocked him on the online dating site. Basically moved in with my friend. It's been like a week now and I haven't really went home. My girlfriends and family are now helping me find a new place to stay. If there's any advice that anyone wants to give me, please leave it in the comments. Story time of how 2 girls at my school were pregnant by the same guy. Let's get into it. So there was this one girl that went to my school. Let's call her Nami. Nami was the definition of problematic. She beat up everybody. Talked the most shit because she knew she could back it up. Yeah, my good sis Nami, she wasn't strong. She was strong. Another thing about her is that she was the plug for everything. She had chargers, she had food, she was the plug for everybody. There was this one really popular boy at our school. He was like the finest boy at our school. Now, mind you, Nami was not that cute. But he started messing with Nami and everybody knew that he was playing her. She swore up and down that everybody was just mad. That everybody was just a hater. He was a player and a heartbreaker child. We knew what was up. Well, rumors started going around that Nami was pregnant. But she never confirmed it until she got word that that popular guy that she was messing with another girl. Well, rumors started going around that that girl was pregnant too. Nami was not having it. She took it upon herself to start going off on her Instagram story. Started posting receipts. And I have some of these posts on my Instagram story, so make sure to go check it out. In one post, she confirmed that she was pregnant. She also said she was gonna beat up that girl the next day. They had to call the ambulance, y'all, like for part 2. Part 2 of how 2 girls at my school were pregnant by the same guy. Let's jump right into it. So like I said, Nami was going off on her Instagram story, confirmed that she was pregnant. I have some more of the receipts on my Instagram story, so make sure to go check it out. She said that she was gonna beat up that other girl that her man was messing with the next day. The next day came, babes, it came. Baby, I was just walking the second period and I see Nami. Drop her shit and start swinging. She's going crazy. When I tell y'all this girl can fight, well, the other girl got beat up pretty bad and they had to call an ambulance. Multiple ambulances. And apparently that girl was pregnant, but she ended up losing her baby in the fight. I do have the video of this fight. I can't post it because I don't want Nami to come for me, but also because it's graphic because the other girl lost her baby during that fight. Things only got worse from there. So apparently this complete other girl was also pregnant by Nami's man. Nami was not having it. Since Nami got expelled because she beat up that other girl so bad, she pulled up to this new girl's house. This is where things get insane. Like for part 3. Part 3 of how 2 girls in my school were pregnant by the same guy. So like I said, Nami got word that this other girl was pregnant by her boyfriend too. She pulled up to this girl's house and whooped her ass too. That girl didn't lose her baby, but turns out it wasn't even Nami's boyfriend's baby. It was somebody else's baby. Hopefully that girl was okay, everything was fine. Well, after that, Nami just like disappeared for a while. Everyone was confused. We were like, where the fuck is Nami? She talks shit every single day. People even got a hold of her friends and her friends didn't know where she was at either. She wasn't posting on social media. Literally nobody was in contact with her. She just went ghost. Well, eventually, apparently she had a fallout with her best friend. And her best friend felt that she was done dirty by Nami. So, she took it upon herself to start spilling some tea on her Instagram story. She let everybody know why Nami went ghost. She said Nami told all of her friends to keep this a secret. She wasn't going to keep it a secret no more because that ain't her friend no more. She said Nami was too embarrassed to come back to social media because she had gotten into a car crash and lost her baby.
I lit a spark into a flame. You seem to take my breath away. All these endless summer nights, sleeping under city lights. Are we living in real life? lights. Are we living in real life? 'Cause I think I might be dreaming. You fought all the monsters and demons in the dark. Help me fix the pieces.
The door in his face. Dad turns around to the rest of us and tells us that he saw a rifle at his feet. At this point, I'm thinking, child, I know this man did not just knock on our door to hide a gun. Then we could open the door and he could shoot us, right? Oh, hell no, it's time to evacuate. I actually called the police instead. But while one of my family members was on the phone with the dispatcher, he heard another knock on the door. This time it followed up with them announcing that they were the police. The police officer was shaking. He said we needed to evacuate immediately because our crazy neighbor was in our backyard trying to break in. Part 3 of the time my crazy neighbor tried to go on a killing spree in our neighborhood. The police knock on our door and tell us that we have to evacuate because our crazy neighbor is now in our backyard trying to break into our house. So this means that he was still on our property after we closed the door on him. He literally went to our backyard after we slammed the door in his face and was trying to figure out a way to get in through the back. Who the fuck do you expect to let you in their house if you have a rifle? Understand that he was trying to hide it, but he was not doing a very good job. Okay, so we frantically start packing. We hear yelling outside, we hear dogs barking. The police basically had him cornered in our backyard. So we had to get out of there as quickly and safely as possible. So we have police surrounding our house. We all finish packing and go inside our garage so we can get out from there because it's safer. There were literal police cars following us all the way to the hotel. Once we got into the hotel, they told us that they were going to call us when we were good to go back home. We only stayed at that hotel for one night. And once they call us the next morning to tell us that we're good to go back home, my dad asks them exactly what happened. Apparently that night there was 2 boys across the street playing basketball. It was really late at night and he was extremely tired and he had work the next day. He kindly came out and asked the boys to be quiet. They kept being loud and it only went downhill from there. Part 4 of the time my crazy neighbor tried to go on a killing spree in our neighborhood. But yeah, based off what the police told us was he kept having to come outside to tell the boys to be quiet. He had to work early the next day, so he was getting really frustrated. The boys were being really rude about it and just laughing at him and just like poking fun at him and making fun of him and stuff. So he got really angry and he went back into his house, grabbed his rifle, came back out, and threatened the boys. The rifle in his hand. Obviously the boys run back inside and call the police. He didn't shoot at them. He had a gun in his hand. He was cornered. He didn't shoot at anyone. Like I said in a previous video, it seemed like he was intoxicated, but I don't think that he was. I genuinely think that he had major mental issues and something just really triggered him that night. Whether it was the boys or the stress just got built up too much. I genuinely think that he did not want to hurt anyone. I don't know exactly what happened that night. He had a rifle. Like if he wanted to hurt somebody, he could hurt somebody, but he didn't. I'm guessing the rifle was genuinely just for intimidation. I don't know. Don't take my word on it. After we came back to our house, that man was gone. We haven't talked to him or heard about him since. This is a quick story time on how I threw up on my first kiss. No, I never recovered from this moment. It still plays in my head every day. Not one day goes by without me thinking of it. But anyways, I met this guy through a mutual friend. His friend went to my school. He went to a different school. One day she just sends me his Snapchat and she tells me to talk to him. Honestly, with the amount of times that boys have screwed me over, I was not feeling it. But honestly, he didn't look like a player. I had a feeling that he could have been genuine. Honestly, was not the cutest, but he still had a good personality, so I still talked to him. Also, at this point in my life, I was going through a really hard time. He was just there to always listen and give me advice, being my person. Regardless of his looks, his effort was sexy. I was like, shit, you trying to get a bonky? You trying to get some of this benedte? You trying to drown it in? You trying to... or no? We decided to hang out one day. I get all cute. I got on my cute little outfit. My hair is all cute. My makeup is all done. Slay. He texts me, tells me that he's here. Go outside, get in his car, and damn, this motherfucker stank. It was unbearably bad. And child, he kept talking windows up. Couldn't breathe. But I'm gonna hit y'all with the part 2.